Well, first off, this is one of my favorite topics. And I think fundamentally the difference between the original Star Wars trilogy and the prequels is that there were limitations on what could be done technologically in the first set of movies. And it forced us to focus on the characters, it focused much more on the story and on the people. By the time the prequels came around, a number of things changed, and one was that the technology had advanced to this place where if they could imagine it, they could make it happen on the screen. Nobody ever sort of stopped to say, is this better for all of the advancements? Is this better for all of the visual clutter and the visual noise and all of this? And I think there's a moment in the prequels where even philosophically what's going on kind of gets exposed. And that's a moment where, and again, this is super nerdy. I'm sorry, I'm just going to apologize. It is nerdy. But there's a moment where they're talking about Anakin Skywalker, and one of the Jedi scans him for his midichlorian count. Because this is, these midichlorians are these things that live on us, and they enable Jedi to control the Force. And his midichlorian count is very high, and they're like, oh, so he's a Jedi. And what happened in that moment is something that was mysterious, magical, incomprehensible in many ways. The power of the Force suddenly gets demystified, and it becomes something that can be tasted, or not tasted, but measured, seen, experienced. And so a magical power becomes something that is scientific and measurable and controllable. And it made me think of, or I should say I thought of this as I was reading Charles Taylor's book, A Secular Age, when he talks about disenchantment. He talks about how in our secular age we live in a world where mystery's been drained from the world, transcendence has been drained from the world, a sense of spiritual, a spirituality and a spiritual realm that's unknown and unknowable. That's all been drained out of the world. The world is all things that we can measure everything, we can test everything, we can see it in a telescope, or we can see it in a microscope, and we can comprehend it all. So to me, I think the difference between the Star Wars prequels and the original trilogy is that they're disenchanted. They're technological marvels. Everything can be seen, everything can be exposed, everything can be measured, and even the Force itself becomes something that is a scientific factor in this story. And it made the stories way less interesting. It made the universe way less interesting. And I think it made them less believable because in our heart of hearts, we know that the world is full of mystery, and we know that the world is full of things that are incomprehensible. And so there's something that resonates about the original movies in that there are powerful forces at work in the world for good and for evil that we don't quite comprehend. That's compelling. That moves the human heart in a really powerful way, where this disenchanted, overwrought world of the prequels did not.